Hello. Today on Cartographer's Garden, we're going to be doing something very special, which is playing my first ever finished WAD file called Sticks. I remember spending, I think, about a month working on this. Due to how horribly balanced it is, we're going to be playing it on medium. Yeah, I remember this being like the first kind of content that I made for Doom in a long time. Like, I remember this was my first time coming back to Doom in maybe 2-3 years. And the first thing I did was like, I want to make some maps again. So this was made in Doom Builder 2, the original version. And as you can see, there's a lot of like round, because I was like, oh dude, this curve tool is awesome, and I kind of banked on it, and I thought that if I made stuff using the curve tool, it would automatically be better. So this is supposed to have a story to it. So you're playing as Mary, who is going to be my original like Doom, like quote unquote Doom gal type character. She's a scientist, and she was going to teleport into here from the Phobo space. So she's teleporting into an experimental teleportation pad. And then she comes in and she's like, oh my god, like, this is crazy, what's going on? And, yeah, it's supposed to be kind of like a bit more of an underdog story. Do you remember that thing I said about in the last episode about doors being too thick? Look at this big beefy boy. What was that, 4 tracks? 5? So yeah, like, I just kind of like dove right into it. I remember like this was going to be a test level, and then after I finished it, I felt so good about it that I was like, oh dude, I'm definitely making more of these. As you can see, there's a lot of like texture changes on the same height that don't make sense. Like this kind of weird, kind of puffy look. I don't know. I make a lot of decisions, as you'll see along the way, that are really confusing. I'm quite proud of this at the time, that you can kind of see out, but it still looks like there's a tangible like building there. I quite like that. That's all right. I was quite proud of this outdoors area. So this is supposed to be like a kind of outside. It's supposed to be a kind of a storage space for cargo, and the idea is that a drop ship would come, like some kind of cargo ship would come and drop stuff down. So this is the first secret. And it is the easiest secret on the planet. There's literally a switch right here that opens this, and it leads to a fucking soul sphere of all things. Like, I had absolutely no grasp of like balancing at this point. By the way, I had already made a bunch of mods, a bunch of like levels, but I never finished any of them, and they were absolutely ages ago. I would have been like 16 or so. Look how bad this looks. These are supposed to be like ventilation tubes, I think. This is really kind of, I mean, it's not bad, it's not like terrible, but these doors are absolutely gigantically thick, as you can see. It doesn't look great. And these doors are completely flush with the wall, which I would never do now. Like, all of the, except for this one, but like this door here, all completely flush with the wall. You're supposed to like make notes of, if you have like a door that has a lock on it, you need to signify in some visual way that that door needs a certain type of key, because it's so easy to like lose track, and I had no scope of that. I thought this was kind of cool and mysterious. This is supposed to be like the computer bank that controls the teleporter, so this would have been where the scientists controlled it. And this is, right, get a load of that. This would have been a way better trap if I hadn't just like filled the room to the brim at the front with zombie men that you can just take out in one shot. And then a really easy Hell Knight. If I did that now, I think I would have made that maybe a Baron of Hell. A lot of the fights in this WAD are a bit slaughter mappy, and it's because I couldn't figure out how to make an encounter difficult without putting tons of enemies in. The actual solution, of course, is to design the architecture of the room around the enemies that you'll be fighting. So obviously this is a bad encounter because you start out really far away from what are essentially just melee enemies. So you have ages to pick them off before they get anywhere close to you. Ideally, you'd want a bit more of a claustrophobic space. Also, I made it so that you can't, that I blocked these so you can't jump down. Stuff like that really, really aggravates players. In Doom levels, you really should be able to go anywhere you want. And then it's up to the designer to kind of put fail-safes in so they can get back to the intended path. So, as you can see from this level, my sensibilities were a lot more linear. And I was making levels that, like, you know, if I played them myself, I would despise them, but I just didn't understand, like, how to make something kind of with more exploration to it. So this is supposed to be a teleporter that takes you into hell now. So I was really proud of this level when I first made it. By the way, all of these levels are made in stock Doom 2, which means that I don't have access to any heretic or hexen special, like, line def actions, or floor actions, or I don't have any limit removing capabilities. So this massive lake that I wanted, this huge ocean of, like, brown water, what I did was, if you wanted to do this in Boom, what you would do is you would tag the sector with, I think it's 337, I can't remember which one it is, but essentially it's a sector tag that makes the thing you're looking at infinitely long across the horizon. But as you can see, what I did, by the way that the auto map is sized, what I actually did was just made it gigantic. It's this giant plane of nothing. Which is obviously really bad. If you were running this in the original Doom engine, that would be so poorly optimized. And I think there should be... Oh no, I think it's because I'm using the graphics accelerated, but if you played this on the original Doom engine, I think it's this bit of floor here. It stretches up into the sky forever. And I just never fixed it because I was like, well, I want it to be the way it is. This is why most Doom levels didn't look like this. Like, most Doom levels weren't this open because the engine doesn't like it at all. If you try and do this, the engine kind of has trouble rendering stuff that's far away, or like massive height differences and stuff. And I just absolutely had no regard for it whatsoever. I just went, well, they better play it in GZ Doom then. Which is obviously not a good mindset, because, you know, people will be playing your map in tons of different environments. This is another example of, like, look, why does this have to be green when the rest of that is brown? It doesn't make any sense. And these, so you can kind of see what I mean of, like, stuff that's perfectly round in Doom maps kind of looks a bit bad. You know, like those, like, super HD texture packs for games where it's like 4K textures on a model that looks like it's made out of origami. It just doesn't fit the aesthetic right, and it would actually look better if you kept to the original, like, kind of like low detail vibe of the rest of the assets, because otherwise it just looks like it clashes, if you know what I mean. So I had no scope of that. As you can see, almost everything is curved with, like, a huge amount of what do you call them, nodes, like points. So these are almost perfect circles, and you can't even really see, like, the points of where there's a line, if you know what I mean. Like, they're almost, look, I was obsessed with it. Everything is circles in this. As you can, like here again, this is kind of cool. I like this concept of, like, the grass is, like, degraded in some areas. I had some cool ideas, I think. I'm not gonna, like, discredit myself too much. This is another example of, like, you know, the water's brown, so why is the waterfall green? The way that you'd fix that in a better map is to make, like, a pool of the green stuff to make it look like it's mixing in with the brown water. I was really proud of this at the time, this big house, this huge estate thing that you can kind of walk around the outside of it for a laugh. But I was really proud of this. I was like, damn, this looks really cool. It kind of does. I mean, I kind of still like it. There's not much inside though. There's not really much to do inside of it. If you make something that big, it better be a spectacle when you get in there, but in this WAD, it's maybe like 3 rooms. It is an essential room though. There is something you're supposed to do in here. Oh, first a Rocky secret, I want to call it. So I've got a friend who's got a really, really cute German Shepherd called Rocky. And he's such a good boy that I wanted to have a Rocky secret, because I knew that my friend was going to play this and we'd play it together. So I wanted to have a moment where I could show her this secret with her dog in it. So if you lift this up, there's Rocky in there and gives you an invulnerability. So I deliberately just like left the most OP secrets with the most OP items with the Rocky secrets. And I knew that it was just terribly balanced and it would like make certain areas like a complete joke, but I kind of went, well, it would be nice. It would be like as if Rocky is like helping you finish the level. Oh my god, this bit is a joke. This bit is actually a complete joke. Let's try and 100% it, but there's no point. The way that I designed this, there's nothing at all stopping you from just running straight past these guys. If you run past them, there's no downside to it, because you can beat the next area so easily that they won't catch up with you. So this is completely pointless. I have no idea how I didn't notice that this was a waste of time, and like you can just run straight past them, but that's how it is. You can just. So the way that I did it is that when you walk past one of these steps, it opens a gate to this huge set of monster closet teleporters, and they start teleporting in one by one. And in my head, in my kind of, I want to say juvenile, but I was literally like, I made this last year. I thought that people would stop and fight it, but obviously, why would you not just run straight past them? So I designed this so that this comes up so you can't leave, and then you have to fight them in this arena. There's quite a serious bug in co-op where if you get left behind, there's no way for you to get into this encounter. So you have to rely on the other person to finish it. And then if that other person dies and goes back to the beginning, you're just trapped and you get soft locked out of the level, which happened when me and my friend played it. You can definitely see what I was going for though, can't you? Like, I wanted this to be like this huge mansion with a like the Shining style garden out in the front, and I was originally gonna make this like a big, like there was gonna be a big hedge maze with a key at the end and stuff, and I just kind of got bored of this level and I went, I'll just make a quick exit and a fight. But yeah, originally this was gonna have a huge cemetery and a huge like hedge maze, and this was gonna be the big finale of this level. But in the end, you can just walk in through the front. Oh, there's an example of me not following my own rules. Look. Look at that. It's not unpegged, so it just go. Yeah. As you can tell, a lot of the music I use is just from other games, from like free MIDI websites. Obviously, the better practice to take nowadays, or in general, is to look to the Doom community for music. There is no shortage of free music you can use with credit in the Doom community, and you know, if you're making a Doom map, you should definitely turn to the community first. But I was like, oh, I really want the leave ending music from Silent Hill 2, so this is what that is. I think this is I can't remember what it's called. It's this Overdose Delusion. I really wanted to use this because I love this song, but I think it would have been better if I used some music by James Paddock, or Stu Boy has a massive pack of MIDIs that you can use, and I just didn't use any of them. I always feel like I'm closer to the end of the level than I am. I remember really liking this bit, this was supposed to be, like, this level in general was supposed to have a kind of, like, eldritch feel to it. Like this kind of, like, rustic estate, but in the underbelly of the house, there's something evil, like, within, or something unspeakable. So, there's supposed to be, like, veins running from this central pit, and then it spreads out to here, but I just didn't use any varying textures, and it kind of just looks ugly in the end. As you can see, like, a lot of these levels are kind of, they're short, but they feel long. And the completely ridiculous Cyber Demon fight. Another fight where, like, you can just run away from it. But because we're gonna actually try and fight, and we might have a bit of a hard time with this one. It's not a fun arena, it's just a corridor with a tiny opening. There we go. So the way that I did that, it's designed so that when you walk past this line, there's an invisible line here. And then this is an invisible room. If we use no clip, look. So this is where the Cyber Demon is, he's there. So when he sees you run past, he walks over an invisible trigger here that teleports him in front of you. And it's supposed to scare you, but I accidentally left in the trigger so that the player can get moved back as well. Obviously you should use a thing, like a trigger that's like, monsters only. If you're a big Queens of the Stone Age fan, you might recognize this as everybody knows that you're insane. Another thing I should have done is, added, what do you call it, blocking line deaths to these, so that you can't walk on top of them and then look inside and go, oh, okay, that kind of ruins the illusion of these being like pit fires. I kind of like this. This encounter's a little bit harder to walk out of. I would say of all of the kind of trap encounters, this is the most kind of cinematic and best one. Because you are kind of trapped in here, because I designed it so that there's a door up ahead that you need to wait for it to open before you can go through it. And in the time that it takes for that door to open, either the pain elemental or one of the spiders catches up to you and starts attacking you. This is obviously a really crap place to fight pain elementals because of how the arena doesn't have a ceiling, and it is possible for the lost souls to just shoot over the top, like here, and then they're just gone and you can't get them. It's super annoying if you're going for 100% kills, so that's another thing that I wouldn't do, given the chance again. Oh, cool Easter egg, right, watch this. So, jump, and then there's a cool 9 Inch Nails Easter egg, look. If I go, look, 9 Inch Nails. And then the secret doesn't trigger until you walk through here, and that's because, like, it's just such an open secret. I would have made this a bit more, like, a different way to access this. Finally, a chainsaw. I know it's a huge sword in my mod, but it's the chainsaw in the original game, which is a really long, amount of time you have to go without getting the chainsaw, I think. There should have been a secret in the earlier areas that had a chainsaw. And more encounters that kind of made it a necessity. I think a big problem was that I made too many areas that were open, like wide open. Like this is a really great example. Like, look at this. You can see most of the level from here. This would have been better fit for maybe like a Souls type of game. But for a FPS game like Doom, it's just terrible level design. I did like this kind of thing of, like, you can kind of see a secret, and then you go, oh, I wonder how you get to that, boom. I like, it's kind of fun to be lazy sometimes and make a secret where you can see where the secret is so that you don't have to signpost it in different ways. This looks like it should be a thing as well, doesn't it? Like, this should be some kind of secret. It was gonna be originally. I don't know why I decided against it. I definitely remember going like, I want this to be a secret, and then I just kind of, I must have got lazy again, just went, nah, I'm alright. Ah, look at this, right, trap encounter. We've got a BFG though, so it's going to be really easy. A lot of these were made, like, a lot of these traps were made when I wasn't quite as good at the game. So a lot of these were designed with, like, I play tested them and went, oh my god, that's really difficult. And then, you know, I come back and play them like now, and I'm like, dude, this is literally the easiest thing ever. Look, I barely lost any health in there. So another kind of, you can see my love for places in Doom levels that look like real places kind of thing. Where, you know, this is obviously the foyer to some gigantic mansion, right? Like, this looks like the foyer from, like, Resident Evil 1, right? That there's, like, the big red carpet going up the stairs and stuff. Once again, kind of rounded shapes that don't fit the aesthetic. Another thing that I would have done differently, definitely. I can't remember the order you're supposed to do this in. There is an order. I did kind of like this. There's a little window that looks out. And it kind of creates the illusion that this place is bigger than you can explore. I kind of like this room. I think it's like a kind of like a library type thing. Kind of inspired by the Scholastica in Final Fantasy XIV, if you've ever played up to Heavensward. Oh, it's this room next. See, do you know what I mean about it's hard to navigate areas where the key doors aren't signposted? Like, if I put a thing there that said, like, oh, you need a red key, like maybe like a sign on the wall or one of those strips that comes with the base game, I wouldn't get so lost in my own levels, because I'd be like, oh, red key, you know? And like every levels designer should do that, really. So this guy here that I just killed, this was supposed to be like a hint. So I didn't talk about this, but there's supposed to be this like deep overarching message in this one. That the demons are like people, and that you're a bad guy for killing them. So he's supposed to be like mourning the death of this Kakra demon by like praying at this altar made for it. Oh dude, nice unmaker. That was kind of like it's in the story of it is that Mary in the end is supposed to grow compassionate for the demons and feel bad for what she's doing, like killing all of them, and that really it's the fault of the humans for opening the portal to hell rather than the demons' fault for killing all the humans. It's really like baby's first deep story twist. Another cyber demon fight. I remember being proud of this because he kind of teleports around the arena, which makes him hard to like read. You heard him just do it there. So if he goes too far outside of the maze here, he will teleport back to the beginning again. And it's designed, hopefully, like my intention with it was so that you can't run past him. Because if you try to run past him, he'll just teleport back to the entrance again. But it doesn't work perfectly. And there's definitely better ways to do this fight. Maybe like put a key in a bigger maze. There's a really good boss fight with a cyber demon in Sigil that does something similar, but Romero made it so that it's kind of this huge arena, and then there's a key in the middle, and you don't have to fight him, but you definitely will end up seeing him a lot. So it makes it kind of this like Resident Evil 3 style kind of chase sequence where you're like running away from him. This is Department 41, and this is supposed to be like Mary and like ends up getting a teleporter back to Earth. And this is supposed to be like, I wanted to make the UAC a bit more of like a shady government kind of entity, rather than, you know, the kind of run-of-the-mill military science company that it is in the original game. So this is supposed to outline it to be like, oh, it's doing like shady practices that it shouldn't be. This is before I played Doom 2016, by the way. The music I'm using in this is what is this? This is Foregone Destruction from the Unreal Tournament soundtrack, the original Unreal Tournament. I love this track, and I always thought it kind of had this like melancholic vibe to it. Because obviously the level that this is from is Facing Worlds, which is one of the greatest maps in competitive FPS history. I won't hear anything else about it. And that's a really like kind of melancholic map, and it's got a really kind of interesting vibe to it. So I kind of wanted to make a level that capitalizes off that feeling that the track gives across. Once again, I would have, you know, given the chance now, I would have used music from someone in the community. But I do, you know, I'm not unhappy about my use of it here, because it is a good song and it does have the feeling that I'm going for in this map. That it's supposed to be kind of a eerie, melancholic kind of map. So this is the kind of research lab area where they're working on the demons. So I made this like this is an operating table with a what's it called, a EKG meter or whatever it's called, and then the first aid kit. So that was supposed to be a revenant kind of like looking at its dead brethren and going like, what have they done to you, you know? So this is a huge like kind of it was supposed to be a morgue, but I put the EKG meters here, so I guess it's an operating room with it's not a very sterile operating environment. I hate this trap is really scummy. It's I've died like tons of times to this. It's not really very well balanced because you're just kind of sandwiched between these two arachnotrons in this huge open area. I would have designed that differently given the chance now. Definitely. Oh dude, this, right, again, very clearly supposed to be like an actual real place. This is a conference room of some kind with the TV up there and like all the chairs. This is a really stupid encounter. You just grab the invulnerability and then it just drops a ton of enemies on you and you just have to fight them all before the invulnerability runs out. It's really easy to fight. Preferably I would have made that something a bit more inventive, like maybe you have to fight a cyber demon in a bigger room or something, or 2 cyber demons maybe, because it's a, you know, when you get given an invulnerability, it has to be something big. Oh, listen to this. Right, oh, so that's my voice, reversed and pitched. I think pitched down and slowed down. This is supposed to be like you're racing to get to the portal that takes you into hell. And this is the final level. Any big Slipknot fans watching this will recognize this song as my favorite Slipknot track. So this huge mechanism here, this is supposed to be like a prototype of the UAC's kind of teleporter relay system that would take survey teams to hell. So this level's a race basically, because it's there's 2 Icon of Sin spawners that are spitting enemies out really fast, and then you have to go between these hubs. I kind of like this idea of this is the most like non-linear level I made for this. The first encounter is a boss fight with a cyber demon, and he's guarding the blue key. So if you want the blue key, you either have to get close to him or you have to kill him. Which, you know, I like it. This is one that I'm not ashamed of. Like, I kind of like this encounter because it's hard. It's not too hard because you have a lot of hiding space. I think this is when I was starting to get a bit better at designing maps. Da-na-na-na-na. Dude, this is such a good Slipknot. I'm not really a big Slipknot fan, but this track is amazing. Also, this is kind of an unfair encounter, just making it so that like that spider demon's out in the open and there's no real place to hide from it. I think if I made this level now, I would make it so that there's more hiding places, maybe some like trenches or something. Because the way it is right now, it's kind of impossible not to get killed by it, or not to take damage. And I would have liked it, as a player, if there were some places you could like kind of hide or like move between cover. So now I've unlocked the boss fight with the spider demon. Baby game. One close range BFG shot kills that boss. This kind of looks crap. I would have not made this flicker if I did this again. But this is the end. This is the end of the WAD. Final kind of encounter. Supposed to be a boss fight with an archvile and a bunch of arachnotrons, but as you can see, if you save up the BFG ammo, it's a joke. There. Absolutely no indication that that should be the final boss, this computer thing. Whatever. But that's it. That's the end. So that was only 6 maps. But I remember being really proud that I actually finished something back then. Because obviously I'd made maps, like tons of maps, when I was like 16, 17, but I never actually finished any of them, even in like made them playable with exits or anything. They were just completely like one room with some imps in it or something. So that's why I'm kind of hoping that this level we're making in this series will be good, because as you can see, I haven't really made anything really good that's finished. So I'm hoping we'll change that, and that we can make a level that maybe in a year or two's time, you guys or me can come back and play it and go like, damn, I've come a long way, you know, or like this was a good effort. So yeah, I guess next episode we'll be continuing making our level.